Okay, it's the tail of two bushes and of two water pipes. Okay, the first water pipe is a 1.5 inch Schedule 10, which has in millimetres a 48.3 outside diameter and 2.77 millimetre thick wall. The second pipe is also 1.5 inch, Schedule 5, which also has a 48.3 millimetre outside diameter but a thinner 1.5 millimetre wall. Okay, now to the bushes. The small bush here is from a Chev Colorado 2004 to 2012. It's the lower control arm, front lower control arm in a bush. There's two bushes, one's a large one and this is the small one. There's the Moog number for reference. Now, it's quite small, it's very, very handy and very, very universal. It's only got a 14 millimetre inner bore though, which is great for some applications, but not for a reverse trike swing arm. And one of the reasons this is ideal, this bush, for people doing their own things at home, is into the Schedule 10 1.5 inch pipe. It's a very, very light light press fit, or you can tap it in with a hammer, which is not quite tight enough, but when you weld a bolt or a nut on or run a weld around the tube, then it's a press fit, it's just really ideal for a lot of situations. I use it often. I'll show you one now. Here's an example on an old swing arm for a reverse trike. You can see the bush there. When I welded that nut onto it, it became a press fit because the weld shrinks the tube. Oh, when you weld something, make sure you weld on the seam. You don't want the weld seam over here, because you might split it. So that also adds a strength to it. But I needed something better for reverse trike swing arm. Now, this bush, number 2 bush, is from a Toyota Hilux RN85, which is the petrol, or LN85, which is the diesel. It's a mid-80s to mid-90s Toyota Hilux. Millions of them around the world. This bush is available everywhere. You can see the size difference. It's one of the wider bushes that you can get for its relative size. But the best thing is, the middle is an 18 millimetre bolt. Strong enough for a reverse trike swing arm. Now, the problem with this is, this piece of paper out the way, when you put it in the Schedule 10 pipe, it's a sloppy fit, no good. This is when the Schedule 5 pipe comes into being. Note there's a weld seam here, ERW pipe. Anyway, we cut 20 millimetres or 3/4 of an inch section out and cut to length. You want to cut it a reasonably bit longer, about 1.5 times the length of the bush. And here's what I prepared earlier. That's what we end up with. And the reason why now, remembering to line up that gap with the weld seam. Oop, wrong pipe, sorry. Here, I've got a red mark there for the weld seam. And you crush that a little bit until it fits inside the tube, inside the pipe. Something like that. I had to go get my vice grips to just squeeze the tube a little bit to get it inside, but you can see the effect. Anyway, this becomes a very tight press fit. You will need a press, or you'll need a long bolt to go through, and a big wrench to tighten up the nut to pull the bush in. And there's another one I prepared earlier. As you can see, very nice looking too. Hardly visible, the bush, but it's there. The reason I choose this method is I want to make a lot of them, so I don't have to do any machining and I don't have to do any welding with this one. With the little one there's a little bit of welding, but no machining involved. Okay, so hopefully you'll understand.